in the Mayfair room. We will have no program on Friday, December 28th. It's going to be a holiday, and we wish all of you happy holidays and a happy New Year. We'll resume our programs on Friday, January 4th, with our guest speaker, Russell Sadler. He's a columnist and commentator, and he's going to share his behind-the-scenes knowledge of the 66th Oregon Legislative Assembly. He's promised he'll tell us what issues will be at the top of the list. I would like to remind you that City Club will offer its leadership class, Pathways to Leadership, again beginning in January. It's a course based on Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It begins January 10 with a full day and is followed by 4 half-days. If any of our members or people in the community are interested, please call our Executive Director, Nancy Hedin, at the City Club office. Enrollment is limited to 21. I'd also like to remind you that City Club and Merrillhurst will again offer their course, Discourses in Public Affairs, Issues and Answers, next term. It will begin January the 11th. As you know, this course is offered for graduate or undergraduate credit, or people may audit the course. State Representative Mike Burton, an assistant to the president at Merrillhurst, and John Sinclair, chairman of the Department of Humanities, jointly facilitate this course. Students attend our Friday programs, then they adjourn to the City Club office for a seminar, and many times are joined by the speaker of the day to pursue the issue in more depth. Enrollment is limited to 20 for this course too. So if you're interested, please call Merrillhurst Student Services at 636-8141 in Portland. We'd like to thank all of you who have contributed to our annual fund drive. We are very appreciative of those contributions and want to comment that these donations help assure the continuation of our research projects, and they help us continue with services to membership. We have been expanding those services, and we appreciate everybody's participation. We have an upcoming 75th anniversary celebration next year. In the coming months, we'll be filling you in about that, so the donations are especially welcome. Today, our format is a little bit different. We have a special treat in that Governor Goldschmidt has prepared a multimedia show for us. He will make comments, and then we will hear the show, and there will be no question and answer period. Now for today's program. Governor Goldschmidt doesn't really need a formal introduction. He's a City Club member who is speaking to us for the 12th time since 1974. But let's take a moment to revisit some of his visions that have become realities. Think about our downtown, vital and alive with a transit mall that works. MAX, our light rail system, helping improve the quality of the air we breathe as well as move us from place to place. New housing for downtown so that Portland is not like so many other cities after dark, becoming a ghost town. Or as governor, how he's helped us look to the future and plan. City Club has heard about Oregon Shine, our strategic plan complete with benchmarks to help us keep on track. We've heard about Oregon's Children's Agenda to get us refocused on our most important resource. And we've heard about a shared university, the plan for higher education in the Portland area. Our hope is that Oregon doesn't lose his vision and his ability to get things done. Today, he'll share with us where we've come during the past 4 years, how it fits together, and what challenges we must begin to meet. Please join me in welcoming home Governor Goldschmidt.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. I want to, Mary, thank you very much. I want to start by doing an introduction I've never had the pleasure of making in public in quite this way. And I want to introduce you to my son, Josh, and the newest member of our family, as he is the newest member of the Cipher family, the wonderful Robin, Josh and Robin Goldschmidt. Stand, will you? Come on, stand up here. I have been here before, and I've been nervous every time I've been here, so I'm 100%. As long as I have been in public office, and certainly as long as I campaigned and served as your governor, you're still left with the question, are you making any kind of a connection with anybody? Well, last Monday, I helped United States National Bank kick off a statewide promotion for Great Start, our program for preschool children. They are going to sell tree seedlings for $1 each at each of their 180 branches, and they're going to donate that dollar to their local Great Start program. At the promotional event, there were a group of children, very young children, and I had my picture taken with them and spent some time talking to them. And one little girl who was standing right beneath me kept looking at me with what I must admit was quite a disappointed appearance on her face. She finally said to me, "When do we get to meet the real governor?" And I thought that she meant Barbara Roberts. No, she said, "You know, the one with the nose and the glasses, the one and only Arnold Goldfish." On a sunny September day in 1960, I found myself standing in a crowd in front of the Lane County Courthouse. Those of us who were there to listen to a speech by the Democratic candidate for President of the United States. He excused his wife's absence that day by saying that she was otherwise committed, and we all laughed because we knew she was expecting a child in November. And he said something about having been in Oregon enough to know that the sun didn't always shine in Eugene, and we laughed some more. And then I heard John Kennedy say, "Those who share a feeling we can do better, that we must do better, that we must move ahead, that things are not perfect the way they are, I want you to join with us in this crusade to make this country move again." I listened to him, and I believed that he was calling to me personally. Not long after that, I left for Israel, and it was there that I read a copy of his inaugural address. Maybe being in a country that demands so much of its people had something to do with it, but that speech was the reason I eventually applied for a Senate internship. It was a time when history was about to be made. I arrived in Washington just days before Martin Luther King's march on that city, and a few months later I walked past John Kennedy's coffin lying in state in the Capitol Rotunda. In the winter and spring of 1964, I went to Mississippi. Blacks had been denied the right to vote, and activists of all sexes and races were brought into Mississippi to help organize free elections. Like many others of my generation, I was called to this cause by a Pied Piper of civil rights named Allard Lowenstein. We spread across that state like an unarmed, nonviolent army of ideals and aspirations. It was an army that was to suffer some of the greatest casualties on our own soil since the Civil War. It was Americans killing Americans. We lost Viola Liuzzo, James Reeb, Herbert Lee, Medgar Evers, James Chaney, Michael Schwerner, Andrew Goodman. We knew going in that some of us might have to sacrifice our lives along the way, but we felt part of something greater and nobler than ourselves. We believed we were tearing down walls of injustice, and if the service of justice requires sacrifice, history teaches us that from our founders through Lincoln and beyond, Americans have given the last full measure of devotion. The cause greater than ourselves is a part of a never-ending river running just beneath the surface of our country, a river of words and deeds that call to the better angels of our nature, as Lincoln said. And when Americans tap into this river, we quench our thirst for justice and equality. For me, John Kennedy is a part of that river. Allard Lowenstein and Robert Kennedy and Martin Luther King are part of the never-ending river. They are gone now, but none of them ever really goes away as long as someone is alive to remember their words and deeds, to be inspired by them, and to stand up for what is right. When was the last time we were called, Americans were called, to take a stand that really mattered? Sacrifice is a virtue left almost entirely to the military. Vietnam, Beirut, Grenada, Panama, and now the Persian Gulf. I remember reading of a poem that a lonely Marine on the midnight watch at Beirut Airport in 1983 left behind in a bunker. They sent us to Beirut to be targets who could not shoot. Friends will die into an early grave. Was there any reason for what they gave? Is that the kind of sacrifice we need? Name one hard thing our national leaders have asked us to do. Name one non-military sacrifice that any American is being asked to make for the good of the country. Name the last time we were told the truth by the people we elect as trustees of the national character. Watergate, WedTech, Iran-Contra, savings and loans, defense contracts, HUD and Hanford. Are we so numbed by this roll call of shame that we have forgotten our own responsibility to face up to some painful truths about our republic? The Bible says, without a vision, the people perish. Yet we have allowed our leaders to give us a vision of America that is pinched and shrunken. It is a vision defined by a singular absence of any discussion of investing in the human dimension of American life. Instead, we are sidetracked by debates on capital gains taxes one day, flag burning the next, and obscene art the day after that, and now we are promised a really terrific debate on racial hiring quotas designed to pit black against white. So what is the truth? The truth is that we are losing a generation of children to poverty and neglect. What is the truth? The truth is that uneducated and illiterate children will never be independent and self-supporting except through crime. What is the truth? The truth is that if we let people get poorer, they become more afraid, and fear will rule our politics. We hear it in the voices of those who ask, where is the medical care we need to cure our sickness? Where is the housing for our families? Where is the education our children must have to lead better lives than ours? And David Dukes and Jesse Helms smell that fear and pander to it with race baiting and homophobia. I believe that words of alienation and an affliction are really a plea for better behavior, a longing for community, a cry from thousands of voices asking, please God, isn't there some other way besides being afraid? Some other way besides being alone? But the fact that I am afraid and alone doesn't mean that somewhere deep inside of me, I don't remember an American society in which together we were supposed to have more. More courage, not more things. Today, those of us who have only know that we want more. Yet we're not prepared to sacrifice anything to get it. In the end, we may risk losing it all. It doesn't have to be that way. We can do better. We can regain our purpose and end 25 years of drift and division. And I believe that Oregon has a role to play in this American comeback. Our role is nothing less than to add our words and our deeds to the never-ending river. For too long, public debate has been framed too narrowly between conservative government by indifference or liberal government by handout. You Republicans are sending people to Salem and to Washington to dismantle the government because you believe that the government is our enemy. You Democrats are sending people to Salem and to Washington to spend more money on problems because you are convinced that this is the best measure of our state's and our nation's compassion. One side fails to understand that the marketplace alone sets little right, while accepting anger and alienation as the price of perceived indifference. And the other side fails to understand that human beings don't respond to government programs, but to bonds of personal commitment. And neither ideology taps into what motivates America and Americans, neither appeals to our highest needs and aspirations. What we need is a new American compact between government and every citizen who has the resources to help those who cannot help themselves, resources of intellect, resources of spiritual and cultural values or of willpower, resources that will transform our shared hunger for something beyond personal gain into redemption and remedy, whether for the abused and addicted child or for a community that is slowly dying. This is the compact of mutual obligation. It is an ecumenical movement that reaches across political lines, county lines, racial and sexual barriers, a movement which tells every American, we will not go on without you. We cannot achieve without you. There will always be things we can fight about, but there are many more that we can agree on and we ought to do together. This is the philosophy that lies at the core of everything we tried to do in the last 4 years. Regional economic strategies, Oregon Arts Challenge, the Watershed Enhancement Program, the drug-free years. They were not to us just programs. They are pragmatic ways to motivate and to empower us all, to give each citizen a sense of ownership, a sense of having a voice in the direction their lives, their community, and their state will take. In each of these undertakings, your state government, by its initiative or by your urging, agreed to provide just enough resources, taxpayers' money, to leverage additional private funds. But we knew that money was not enough to succeed. You and others like you had to step forward to shape and build the effort so that the outcome would fulfill your community's needs. You did it. And in the 1990s, that is revolutionary. This new American compact is a movement born to sail on our nation's river of conscience. It was this sense of what I believe we are, what our nation is and can become, that brought me to this room almost 3 years ago to talk with Oregon about her children and about an agenda to ensure that all fulfill their potential. The children's agenda is a compact between government and heroes, some with great gifts and some with gifts they didn't know they had, but all empowered to help our children. What a journey this has been for me. My wish for each of you is that you will have a job like this in your life. It is a mitzvah, a blessing. What other job pays you to fall in love with children every day of the week, knowing that you left a little something behind to comfort and encourage them? My strongest memories of the last 4 years are of the times I spent in rooms with children. I remember a student retention initiative class at Madras High School. The goal is to keep these kids in school and to do it by building their self-esteem and their confidence. They were taught to respect each other, that another person's opinion needs to be respected and listened to, not laughed at, and you have to follow the rules. And when I tried to tease one of the girls, she said, "The rule is, don't make fun of me," and I didn't. And I remember a Baker City dance class for sexually abused girls. The teacher volunteered her time. These were girls who blamed themselves for what had been done to them. When they first came to class, they couldn't even dance in front of the mirror. They dressed only in baggy clothes, and they couldn't trust another person even enough to dance in unison. Over time, they learned not to hate themselves or their bodies. Over time, they could dress in leotards and ballet shoes. They could dance together, and they could look in a mirror and smile at who they saw. I remember the Morrison Center here in Portland, where I was told horrifying tales of torture done to children. The staff at the center have a name for their children, little sponges they call them, because they soak up all the love you can give them. And I remember Roseburg and 2 classrooms I visited the same day, one for exceptional students, the other for young people described as slow learners. It doesn't mean that they were retarded. It meant they couldn't keep up with a regular class. Here I am in a room full of children who are uncertain they have what it takes, but their one distinguishing characteristic is that deep down inside, they want to be somebody. As I listened to their questions, I realized they were articulate, they were interested, and perfectly capable of connecting. The biggest difference between them and the exceptional kids was self-esteem. You leave there asking yourself, why would anyone leave them behind? Their teacher told me that if I ever needed a job, I could teach her class. That's why I kept going back, because it was magic. The lesson they all taught me, traveling the state as I have for hours and now several years, is that no matter how much damage we have done to these children, it is never, never too late. If someone can make a connection with them in the darkness, they will somehow find their way back to the light. I kept going back to the schools and the clinics and the group homes, not to hear about a new affliction or remedy, but because it was so rewarding for me to tell these kids that they make a difference, and to feel the difference they made in my life. As I believed in the beginning, I am certain at the end. It will always come to this. Are these children truly ours? Are they truly mine? The day that each of us reaches out to save a child is the day we will have achieved the true Oregon comeback. By choosing the virtues of individual sacrifice over instant gratification, and by choosing to invest our different faiths and our different interests in a mutual compact that could save a nation. These are choices that will be made independently in each human heart. In 1978, a good friend of mine was dying of leukemia, and I visited his home. He broke into tears and said, "I'm not going to be here to see you do it." I tried to explain to him that he would be here, and I know that it's true. But I now understand his tears. So much of human value had been begun, and he knew he wouldn't see it fulfilled. My friend is here today because he is never far from my thoughts, and you and I are here together, and I'm happy about that. Happy about spending more time with my children, happy about contributing to public life, happy knowing that together we can achieve what is possible, and even some that is not. Who would believe that a small state like Oregon could lead the nation back to its true heart and soul, to raise expectations and to remind America again of what it can be, the first place on God's earth to build a home for all of God's children, living in peace with this beautiful land and at peace with each other. After only 4 years, everything is left undone. Nothing is finished. But my Oregon, our Oregon, flows on like that never-ending river beneath the surface of America. And in that river runs the sacredness of public spirit, a spirit of family and community that once tapped will redeem us all. To the winners who did the work of the Oregon comeback, thank you and God bless you.
We're Doc and Connie Hatfield. We run about 400 cows on 25,000 acres of rangeland in Central Oregon.
Our cattle are kind of special because they've been bred and selected for generations to fit our natural environment.
The result's a leaner, healthier, ecologically sound food product that people can feel good about when they eat it.
This is Mr. Tanaka. He owns one of the largest restaurant chains in Japan.
He buys almost all our cattle along with the beef from 23 other Oregon ranch families. It's been a really good deal for all of us.
Mainly what Doc and I do is work all the time.
Everything we do, we want it to make a difference in the long run.
Our recreation is our work.
Plain, grassroots, local, common people can make a fantastic difference. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure but what our country isn't to the point where that's the only way differences can be made.
We're seeing the government people are happy at what we're doing. They gave us an opportunity, but then we took it and went with it.
We're all the same. We're just people who recognize that if we attack the opportunities, it can work. Our whole being is knowing that what we do is ecologically sound and will last for the long run. Ecological soundness and economic soundness go together.
When you start getting trust amongst each other, the excuses kind of just go out the door and you start really getting into some viable changes that are helpful to our environment.
We like meeting challenges and putting people together to make positive things happen with people and land.
You do the right thing and you try to be in a strong position, and then when the opportunity's there, you're ready to be able to handle the opportunity and make something of it.
We're all the same. We're just people who want to solve the problem, and maybe what we've developed is a way to do that, a way to let people understand how much power and how much difference just plain folks can really make if they work together a little bit.
Hi, I'm Tony. This is my partner, Ray. We run the grassroots program known as Self-Enhancement, a program in Northeast Portland for urban youth.
We serve elementary, middle, and high school kids in classroom instruction dealing with such issues as peer pressure, human sexuality, drugs and alcohol, hoping to equip our kids with the opportunities to make good choices.
These kids are like any kid you might see in the neighborhood who just need additional support to be successful.
My name is Kenny McDonald. I'm in the 8th grade and I'm 13 years old.
Just the natural ins and outs of trying to grow up are very difficult. But when you begin to add the gang effectiveness, the drug effectiveness, the dysfunctional families, but in all of that, there is still hope. And we think providing the kind of services that we do is the kind of hope that our kids need to see so that they can continue to fight to win.
That's like I'm gonna live with my grandmother because I left my mom. She just started hitting me for no reason. I was like, she's saying all this stuff and it was like, it was hurting me inside. So one morning I just got up, I packed my clothes. So I just threw my clothes out the window. I wrote her a 2-page letter and left.
When I think of hope and I think of what a kid needs to do, the hope centers around choices.
I want to stand for something. I want to be about something. I want to represent something.
If you make good choices based on good information, the future is bright.
And to represent the aspirations of the children in this community is the greatest gift they could afford you.
So through our program, we're trying to give kids the kind of information, help them make good choices that will present them with the kind of future that they hope for.
I almost got shot. We was at Humboldt Elementary School. So we sitting out there playing basketball, and then a car came up and they didn't say nothing. The car started shooting. I had to grab my coat and run, get my bike, and I was scared. Every car I seen, I thought I was gonna get shot or something.
Self-enhancement, in a sense, is a gang, but it's a positive gang. But the concept of belonging to a group and being able to feel like you have a family, someone who loves you and cares about you, and that's what many of these kids get out of gangs. We seek to duplicate that in self-enhancement.
You can't even wear color. Oh, you a Crip, you a Blood, you all that. They think you in the gang just because you wear a certain color. If I just walk out there in the morning with a lot of red on, I'd be like, Grandma, can you come get me from school? And I don't be like wanting to ride my bike or walk home because I know what happened.
I always knew from as far back as I can remember that my mission in life was to give back to my community.
I don't think you can get a greater sense of satisfaction than to know that what you're doing on a daily basis is having a positive impact in someone else's life.
Baker County was down. We were looking around for some way to bring back the economy.
We decided to become part of state government. It was with this group of people who got together and decided they wanted to change things that the idea of the Oregon Trail Interpretive Center came to be.
We didn't like the decisions being made somewhere else, so we got together and bought the electric company in '88. Secured 80 jobs, and in a town like this, 80 jobs is quite a bit.
The agenda of the state 4 years ago was to develop more corrections facilities. Now it has located here. There's 67 jobs, probably a spin-off effect of 130 jobs in the community, and it's made a great deal of difference.
The whole look of the Main Street has changed since 1986. The buildings have not been bulldozed down, they're being restored.
It's a small town USA.
The people are genuine. The feelings are real.
We all know each other.
The best qualities of small town living.
The very quietness of this community just absolutely touches me.
It's just the way we are.
Somebody got the revolutionary idea that maybe we ought to do something to help ourselves.
We decided to take some steps to become a part of state government.
If you get something in your mind's eye, there's every reason to make it fly.
You come up with a project and you've got volunteers, and I mean they are ready to work. They'll do it.
When we put our minds to something, it gets done.
And we went out and did it.
In Eastern Oregon, we're used to work, and it's root hog or die.
We've accomplished a few things, and it's created an environment of a lot of excitement.
It seems like we're winning.
People are not afraid to get involved.
In Baker City, we all feel as though we own the city. It's an extension of our own family.
All of us have an obligation to leave our town a little bit better than we found it.
If you get something in your mind's eye.
What we have here is the Western spirit.
The work part doesn't bother us a bit.
If you get something in your mind's eye.
That pioneer spirit is here.
It's fun working with one another. We do have talent.
There's every reason to make it fly.
We're making it.
This is the promised land. You can make what you want with your own two hands. This is the promised land. Here we stand in the promised land. In a land filled with crystal rivers and mountainsides, there are people strong with pride and a vision to keep it alive. It's time to make a good choice and take a chance. Take a chance. We'll find the strength inside to make a difference. This is the promised land. You can make what you want with your own
common people can make a fantastic difference.
We decided to become part of state government.
I always knew that my mission in life was to give back to my community.
Thank you, Governor Goldschmidt. We are adjourned.